All right, I'm realizing that like the last few times we've taken a look at places, we haven't really done much as far as making any videos whatsoever. These particular barns are right on the edge of the road, so you're gonna hear some truck traffic going by here and there. But so here's the smaller of the two connected barns. And then behind me, this is the bigger of the two barns. I'm in the top floor. I'm in the haylofts of the barns. So trying to be careful. It's actually got a pretty substantial layer of hay on the floor. And it's hard to know whether the floor is squishy or if it's just the hay. I think it's just the hay. Built with a combination of these beautiful old chestnut beams, and you can see it looks like dimensional 2x6s are the joists. It appears to be all old chestnut, and it's surprisingly dry up here. I mean, you've got your end doors for ventilation, but you know, I'm looking at the ceiling and the floors, and it all looks like it's in pretty good shape. You know, obviously not built to be rock solid. It is a animal and hay barn, but pretty good. The ceiling looks great. I don't see any rotten beams. I don't see any water damage. The metal looks intact, and I don't see any light showing through the metal. So really nice on that front. I'm gonna try to make my way over to the steps here, which seemed pretty solid, but I'm going to be careful because this ain't my barn. There's definitely some cracked treads. The one tread is like really kind of sketchy. I'm trying to stay on the treads above the risers as I make my way down. It actually smells really good in here. So here's the main floor of the barn. If I look out here, you can see that Christine is outside inspecting the first floor, which is made out of dry stacked stone, most likely slate from the area. And you can see here's the barn. There's a couple of doors to the exterior and workbenches and some other different things in here. I mean, it's a pretty solid building. You can see the hayloft beams looks like a combination of birch and chestnut, probably right from the property. All pretty original stuff. Again, trying to be really aware of where I walk because it feels like this is all pretty solid, like they've been using this for storage and it hasn't been used, it looks like, for animals for a while, but there's an old hen box for egg laying. There is a hen house, it looks like, out on the property. And you know, like obviously somebody's thrown a trailer hitch in here. They've thrown some bins. There's an old ironing board and a bathtub. Some other stuff going on here. So that's kind of interesting. Old pile of lumber. Looks like it might be cedar. But you know, there's some big beams here. Some nice old wood. I mean, look at the size of that. That's, you know, 10 inches by 14 inch beam. And that looks like it's probably chestnut. I mean, this stuff's no joke. So that's the barn building. I'm gonna go and see if we can walk around and see where Christine is. We drove the old Model 3 right up in here. I don't know if it was the smartest thing or not, but it didn't seem to bottom out. And this secondary building is a milking barn. Let me see. So this door is kind of pinned shut, but you can see where they would have had the cows right there, and then the waste trough, you know, so that whatever. So that's interesting. You got this sort of in-between area, in between the hayloft and the barn. There is a door here. I don't know if this is nailed shut or if it's just closed. I think it's nailed shut, but that goes into the main barn. But this would, I'm assuming this would have been where they would have pulled a truck in to get milk or unload hay or whatever. Got a little thicket action here. So this is post and beam, and this is going like right down to the ground, it looks like. But it's been infilled with stone. Let's see what we got around this other side. All right. We got a yeah, what kind? So I thought this had a basement, but it's not really a basement. It's more of a crawl space underneath. But this has been, there's something was kept down here at one point. And we got a dry stone foundation and some old beams. And so, yeah, they kept some animals down here at some point. But I mean, look at the size of these beams. I don't think these are going anywhere. I think the structure of this barn is pretty solid. All right, so we are down in the middle of the bottom part of the property that is yet to be named, but the one that's about 20 minutes south of Ithaca.
I'll tell you, I still think there's a possibility it's feeding both. So you can see there it coming down, but the spring that feeds this one might also be feeding the
other one. This is why I said to bring wellies. So these things are enormous. Like there are big trees, but this one is probably 120 feet tall and probably, you know, it's, anyway. So there is a really, really big stand of spruce trees here.